Welcome back to the Pre-Vetted podcast, where we spotlight extraordinary people and remarkable talent reshaping our world. Our guest today is Linda Baker. She's the founder realtor at Milestone Realty in Silicon Valley. She's been leading her own brokerage since 2021. She's a licensed realtor since '03. And Linda has successfully guided hundreds of buyers and sellers, many of whom return or refer friends, driven by what she calls her passions for real estate. In this conversation, we're going to explore how Linda combines deep local knowledge, data driven insights, and a service first mindset to create memorable client experiences. Welcome, Linda. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, I appreciate it. I the real estate industry is something that it's very interesting, and I'm sure there are a lot of things we can learn from your experience.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it is very interesting. I'm learning something almost every day.
Oh, nice. So tell us a little bit about what first drew you to real estate back in 2003.
Came from the publishing industry. I was actually the director of finance for a local business newspaper. And I could see that industry was changing, and I wanted to make a change. I wanted to get out before I was thrown into the blender of who knows what at that point in time. So I have a marketing background, a finance background, and my husband has been in the construction industry for years. So it kind of made sense to pull all these components together, and real estate just made the perfect target for me. And many of my friends, after I decided to become a realtor, said, "Why didn't you do this before?" And it's like, I don't know, didn't I? But I'm glad that I did. And this has been 22 years of just really amazing experiences.
Interesting, interesting. Um, so you have more than 2 decades of experience in the industry, right?
Yes,
Uh,
yes. I was 10 when I started.
I mean, this is a side comment, but I went to the doctor recently and asked me my age, and I'm 42, but I said, but I feel 20.
Until I get up and then it's like, oh.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel you. Yeah. So, what inspired you to launch your own brokerage?
Had been with a local um, boutique brokerage that actually wasn't that boutique. It was Bay Area wide, and they were known for their quality, for their high end experience. And then they were acquired by a large mega brokerage, which was great. It was fine. They had some nice tools and everything, but I felt like everything was you were competing against everybody else in the same brokerage. Everything looked the same. It was very homogenous. And my joke has become that real estate's more than just black and white. I wanted to have an experience where I controlled the marketing, where the marketing was vibrant and alive, and that we could catch people and I could be expressive in how I presented my properties and my listings and myself and my team. And so it was just time to take that next step and to start Milestone. And it was significant for me because the word milestone means so much to so many people. And whether it is the milestone of starting my own business, the milestone of helping you buy or sell your house, it's a significant word. And I love the idea of having the company name reflect how important buying and selling real estate is for everybody.
Right, right. I have actually a quote. Let me look it up. From I sent it to a friend. Um, so I'm kind of quoting myself, but anyway. So it's a different circumstance from him, but reminds me what we're talking about. It says this: choose a hard path on purpose. Every stretch forges you into someone stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever comes next. Right.
Absolutely.
And now that we were talking about Milestone, it reminds me something I told him recently.
It's we all have milestones, and it's not just professionally, it's not just in real estate. It could be health, it could be family related. There's so many things that milestones relate to. And so we just
Right.
it's so satisfying to help somebody achieve that next milestone, to get to that next level.
Right. Right. Yeah. The definition of happiness, one of the definitions that I've seen of happiness is we're it's about climbing the mountain, right?
Yes.
Um, the top of the mountain has a personal significance for us, right? So it's different for each other, right? But it is the act of climbing the mountain, right? Because once we reach the top of the mountain, then we are eager to look for others mountains to climb, right? Um, so it's not the achieving, it's the getting there.
Yeah.
That
It's
that's a
the journey.
happiness. It's a journey. Yes, yes. So helping people to um, to achieve their milestones, it's a significant part of their journey to become to be happy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, so you you mentioned repeat and referral businesses, right?
Yes.
Um, can you develop a little bit more about why that's important on the real estate?
Absolutely. My very first transaction came from a friend of my mother-in-law. So and I had met him before, and we ran into each other at the grocery store. And at that point, I had taken my real estate test. I knew I had passed. I was just waiting for my physical license. So I see him at the grocery store. I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm going to be a realtor. Really super excited about that. So if you need anything, let me know. And he goes, oh, yeah, we're thinking about selling in like the next 6 months. Awesome. 2 weeks later, he calls me. Okay, ready to sell my house. So I helped him sell the house, and I happened to represent the buyers. The buyers came in through an open house. So those were my first buyers that I ever worked with. And it's fun because here we are 22 years later, and I'm still connected with those buyers who bought that very first house. I've helped them buy two other investment properties, and they've referred, his brother-in-law to me. I've now seen their daughter grow up, and their daughter's now in college. It's just like one small example, working with people that you build a connection with, where there's trust. It's not just transactional, where I care what happens to that transaction. I had clients who I had shown they were referred to me, and I had shown them houses back in 2006. And they were looking at a house that they absolutely fell in love with, that was backed up against a highway. I looked,
Right.
and the house was horrible. And I looked at them, and I'm like, I am not selling you this house. No, no. If the market goes soft, because real estate markets fluctuate like anything else, I go, if you have to sell, this is going to be a horrible house to sell, and I will not sell you this house. No, get something else. 15 years later, so they had ended up buying out of the area. They didn't buy with me. They bought out of the area, then they moved up to Seattle, and then they were coming back. He was transferring back to the Bay Area with Google. And they messaged me. We had stayed connected on Facebook, and they had messaged me, and they're like, hey, Linda, do you remember us? I'm like, yes, of course. And they're like, well, we're coming back. We want to buy a house. We want to buy a house. Would you work with us? I'm all, of course. So, and it's funny because we talked about that memory of, 15 years before, me not letting them buy a house that I knew was going to be bad for them, and how much that meant. They brought it up, not me, and how much that meant to them. It was it was so gratifying, and it's just like that's the full circle of why you want to work with your clients over and over again, because they trust you, and when they trust you, they're going to refer you to their friends and family. Like Linda's the best to work with, and it makes and then I have client parties, and it's so much fun to have client parties, and people walk in and they're like, wait a minute, you work with Linda too? I didn't know. And you get this like whole energy, and the house is a buzz with people and talking, and it's the best experience. It's building a community, and that just feels my wheelhouse. It gives me goosebumps just talking about it.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. And do you remember all those stories, or you mentioned they bring it up to you, right? They bring that story to you,
Oh,
right?
there are times when clients remember things that I have forgotten. I mean, oh, Linda, you told us when we were buying our first house with you this, and this, and I go, oh, I said that. Jeez, oh, okay. I'm so glad I. This is embarrassing. Yeah, people remember, because I'm trying to give them my best advice, and this is when I work with a lot of people who are first time buyers. I work with people who are, selling mom's house, whatever it is, but I try to come at it as if I were buying or selling the house. What makes
Right.
sense? And then to be able to give you options. Okay, if I were doing this is what I would do. We could do it this way, we could do it that way. Give people options, but yeah, I do remember a lot, but there are times my clients remember more than I do, and it's just fun. It's just fun.
Right. Right. Yeah. Plus, buying a house for any family is such a significant part of their lives, right?
Yes.
That is going to stay with them for how many years, right?
Well, and it's great. I mean, I met a mother one time at an open house, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not looking for me. I'm looking for my boys." And I've helped both of her sons buy houses, and then one of the sons has bought a second house, and then the other son has referred me to like half the people they work with, and it's just like, and it just grows. It's so much fun.
It reminds me to another story. Apologize. I keep going sidetrack, but um,
Squirrel is the word.
squirrel.
Squirrel. Yeah, when you get distracted, you squirrel.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Think
yes,
of the movie Up, the Disney movie.
yes, yes. That's right. So, is this idea of imagine uh, you're in your funeral, right? And who is going to be there? Who what are the people going to talk about, right? And what stories are they going to share, right? And you know if we look if we look it from that point of view, right, and then we go backwards, right, that kind of give us a clear vision of how we should operate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to hear great stories, right, or not?
Well, and I like to say that the view is much nicer from the high road.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
The view is much nicer from the high road. You,
Oh, right, right.
so you
And
can you can take the easy route, or you can take the high road and do the honorable thing and do what's right for your clients. And
right,
so my joke is just like, well, when you're up on the high road, you get a much better view.
right. That's true. Yes. And reminds me of of a doctor. He was a uh, YGON,
OBGYN.
OBGYN. Thank you. Yeah. So
You wouldn't go see him.
no, but I was there because my mom took me there, right? And it was this um, gathering, I guess, and um, and he was dying of cancer, right?
Mm.
And he was, old, and they were doing they were starting a foundation, right, on his name, and there were three generation of women that were delivered by him, right? He delivered the babies, right? Um, so and everybody was sharing this type of stories, right? So it wasn't a funeral, but everybody knew that he was,
It was a
he was,
celebration of life.
yes, yes, and the level of support that everybody was put in there, and and then his one of his son became a doctor as well. So the practice would continue, right? So there was this, as you said, celebration of life, right? So it reminded me to this story, right? Like how much of an impact you're doing in people's life without realizing at first, right?
It's to me, it's more than just being a salesperson. It's being a consultant. It's being a part of your financial trust. How the people that you bring in to help guide you. You want to be part of those trusted individuals, and to give advice that's not based on anything other than what you feel is best for the client. To point out pitfalls, and ultimately, it's always the client's decision what they're going to do, but you want to make sure that you've given them all the information they need to make the best decision, and that's really important.
Right, right. Because it's so complex to make a purchase decision of a house, and there's so many details, and it's very frustrating when you make the decision and then you are in the house and then you start realizing, oh, I made the wrong decision for whatever reason, right? It could be big or small, but now you are literally in hell because you're stuck in that situation, or it's
Yeah.
very expensive to get out, right?
And sometimes things happen that you just cannot expect or anticipate. That
Right.
that definitely happens. But at the same time, buying a house can be a sensory experience. You need to use all of your senses. You can't just go on a computer and look online and say, "Oh yeah, this house looks good." You need to go and listen. How's the traffic noise? How are the neighbors? How does the neighborhood look? How does it smell? How does the house smell? Sometimes bad odors are indicative of problems such as mold. I mean, you
Right.
use everything about you. Say you house has a vibe, it's okay. It's a little woo woo, but it's you want to feel the house. You want to get in there and see how it's going to fit you, not just by saying, okay, it's a 4 bedroom, 2 bath, this many square feet. It's more about how does the layout work? How does it feel? It's it's just different.
Right. I'm sure you have many, many stories of, throughout the years, right? Um, what are the more, funny stories that you can share with us?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Funny stories. I can remember one time going into a house. I remember what street it was on, and it was like they marketed it as such a beautiful house. Oh my gosh, it's just got this and that. And I remember showing it to a client, and I'm walking down some stairs to the family room, and it is so ugly down there. I literally sat down, started laughing. I could not help myself. I mean, here I am trying to sell a house. Yeah. I mean, I will admit, I make money when I sell a house. And
Right.
you walk in and it's like, it's so bad. You could not help but laugh. Oh my gosh. And then there was a time I was showing a house and I had made an appointment. I knock on the door and I hear a dog barking. And my client's like, I'm afraid of dogs. There can't be a dog. I'm like, oh, no problem. I love dogs. I'll go inside. I'll get the dog. I'll put the dog outside. I do that. I put the dog outside, let the client in. Well, what I didn't realize is that there was a side doggy door. It's this little, it's this little tiny dog, right? And the dog goes like literally like out the back door and around the house and comes in the side kitchen door where the dog door was. And she's like, so I literally just scooped up the dog and I go, I'll just carry the dog. It's fine. I don't, this is like, people are you just never know. That one always strikes me as a little funny. I really don't have that many funny stories. To me,
Right.
the stories that I remember is like when we've had to fight to get the client the house they wanted. I mean, those are the ones that I find really impactful. I had I had clients who were moving here from Ohio to the greater San Jose area, and the wife, we looked at houses all together, and then the wife had to go back to Ohio to get the kids and do all the stuff for moving. And I'm here with the husband, and she's like, "Here, go look at this one house." And it was the only house that we'd seen that would work for like 4 kids. They needed great schools, certain price point, good condition, all this kind of stuff. And we were competing with, I think, 5 other offers on this house. And man, I just threw it on the line. I worked that listing agent. I kept us engaged, and my clients got the house. And I remember we did the walkthrough at the end with the seller and the agent from the listing side, and then me and my client. And the seller turns to my client. He goes, "You got this house because of your agent. She was so persistent and did such a good job." And that just, that was it. Close. I'm done. I'm good. But that was, I didn't. Who needs a paycheck when you get those kinds of comments? You know what I mean? It's like it just fills you up. So, I've got funny stories, and I've got stories like that. And it's just, those are the ones that just kind of keep you going.
Yes, completely understand. That was kind of my my thinking when I took my first full-time job, because I was like, I could do this for free, and they're paying me. It's great.
Yeah.
And yeah, but the spirit is it fills you in, and then yeah, you need to you need to pay your expenses and whatnot. So money becomes eventually important, but it's not the main reason why you're doing what you're doing, right?
If I believe in people, and I believe that people can tell if you are genuine or not. And when I get excited about something, my clients feel it. I can't help it because I'm just loud. And it's so much fun because they can tell that I was told that I don't have a good poker face. So it's like, this is it. Oh my God, this is it. We got to this, and it's just fun. It's and people remember that. They remember how you made them feel, and how and how that house made you feel. And it's just, yeah, that's, you just can't make this stuff up.
I understand that the Bay Area is one of the most competitive markets in real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your advice to be able to be successful in such a competitive market?
First, you always need to speak with your true voice. If you are disingenuous, if you are simply transactional, you might last a couple years, but you're not going to be here for the long haul. You need to put yourself out there outside of your comfort zone. Talk to people, not be afraid to make a phone call, to reach out to people. You need to be persistent. You need to be hungry. You need to help encourage your clients, not push them out of their comfort zone, but sometimes help guide them to where they need to be. And you need to always put your client's need first, even if that can be painful, because it's not going to get you an immediate paycheck. But you need to put your client's needs first, because at the end of the day, they will remember that, and they come back to you, and then they know that you're looking out for them. And again, and that's where you get the repeat and referral clients. If I look at all the transactions I've done this year so far, this has been a great year for me. Every one of them was either repeat client or referral client, or somebody from my sphere of influence, someone that I've known for years. So that's that. And I'm sorry, I think that's really key to being successful. And when you're getting started, you've got to research and know as much as you possibly can. You better be a sponge and know everything you can about what's going on, and how houses are put together, and how things work, and how the market is. There's so many things to understand when you are doing this job.
Right. You mentioned something about guiding the client, understanding their needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had situations where the clients are hesitant and they need this, you know, a little bit of a push to make the right decision for them, right?
Okay, I love stories, in case you didn't notice. So I had a client one time, and they actually, so we hooked up, and they had seen a house before they met me that they liked. We like this house. So I check out the house and I go, this is a great house. I definitely agree with you. They're like, we want to see, and it happened to have a really pretty view. It was like up on a hill, so you got a nice view of the valley because Santa Clara Valley is, it's full. I go, okay, so we looked at every house in their price range with a view all around the valley. And after about a dozen homes, well, we like this house, but we like that first house better. And I heard that time and again. And I finally said, okay, that's it. I'm not showing you another darn house until you at least write an offer. We have to at least try and write an offer. If we don't get it, that's fine, but we're going to write an offer. And they happen to be clients that were relocating into Santa Clara Valley. So again, when you're coming in to the valley, it's expensive. It doesn't matter what year it is, it's always an expensive place to live.
Right.
So they want to write a low. So, after I've done all this work for them, they're like, okay, we're going to write an offer, and they write a low offer. And I'm like, oh God, we're not going to get it. I'm just, scared to death. But I have this strategy, and so I know where they're willing to go. So I have this number. So I go and I present our offer to the listing agent and to the sellers, and I sell that out of my clients. Oh my gosh, they're relocating here. They got 2 little girls, yada yada. And they're like, oh, okay, well let us talk. And and we were like really low compared to what the list price was. And they come back, and I'm waiting in the office while they're talking, and then the listing agent comes in to me, and she's okay. She goes, we're going to have a counter for you. And I'm like, awesome. And they're like, I hope that we can make it come together. And she tells me what the price is. And I'm really working hard to keep this poker face because it's exactly where we knew it needed to land. And so I go, I don't know. Let me check with my clients. She leaves the room. I call my clients, and it's like, guess what? Here's the counter offer, and it's right where we said it was going to be. And they're like, no way, and I'm like, wait, but it took me saying, okay, I've done my job. I've looked at everything for you guys. You keep comparing to this house. Write an offer. You're talking about it, not me. So let's do it. And we did it.
And after that, they come back and say thank you for uh, because
the push.
Yes, for the push. Yeah.
Because I'm not pushing people when I know that's what they want.
Right.
It's like neon lights screaming, I want this. Let me help you get there. And part of my, I am a motivator. I do like to encourage people. I'm a positive person. But then I'll also I've also turned around and told people, I had a client, husband and wife, and it was the husband who was really driving the new house search. Linda, what do you think about this one house? I look at the house, and I knew what the wife's criteria was, and I had promised her that I was going to look out for her, so we would bring her in when we really felt that we had the house. And I look at the house online, and I get him on the phone, and I go, do you love your wife? He's all, of course. I go, then no, I'm not even going to consider showing you this house. She's not going to like it. Forget it. Not going to happen. So it goes both ways. You also need to make sure that when you understand, and then you talk through why. It's not me making the determination. It's like, remember, she wants a pool. There's no place to put the pool. The kids aren't going to have a good play area. I had a bunch of reasons why, so it wasn't just me being arbitrary, and for me, it doesn't matter what the price is. It matters what the client's needs are and what they're wanting to achieve.
Right. Right. Yeah. I use the word push. I was trying to find another word for that.
Push is good. Push is good.
Yeah. But it's you're stretching, you're leveraging the trust to get them to where they need to be, right?
Right. And it's
Yeah.
again, and some if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. And I'm not going to push them if it doesn't feel right. If they want to, that's great. And if I have some concerns, I'll say, well, when we go to sell this house in the future, this one obstacle might still be there. This will always be an objection. But because the house is so great, you're willing to overcome that one issue, because no house ever has every single box checked. There's always going to be something that you're compromising on. And it could be the price.
Right.
If the house is so perfect, then it's going to be a little bit more expensive.
Right. Right. And sometimes there are houses that are not so, not so perfect, but a good price and an opportunity to improve it further down the road. Right.
Exactly. And I love those houses. Oh my gosh, I sold a house on my street and it was pretty original condition. We'll put it that way. It needed a lot of love. And so I was a listing agent. I sold the house for a fair price. And then, I walk the dogs and I'll say hi to the buyers and see how they're doing. And they're like, "Oh, Linda, come here. We want to show you what we've done to the house." And it was so, because they had remodeled the kitchen and opened up a wall, and they were so proud. They couldn't wait to show me. And it's like, oh, good. That's what it's all about. And they could see, because I talked about when I was selling this house that needed love, what it could be. Imagine if you did this and you did that and you've got this, and they saw the vision, and that's really cool.
Right. Right. Because it's showing what it's not there, right?
Yeah.
And what it could be. Yes. Yes. Mm. And then the pricing becomes, I mean, there's a market, that also, fluctuates the pricing, but there's a big component that is the people's preference and and impressions of the house, right? That's a big determination of the pricing, right?
Yes. Yes. Well, um, I was on vacation once in Australia with my husband, and when I was looking at a local newspaper, and there was a real estate ad, and it talked about, everybody knows that the first three rules of real estate is location, location, location. This ad, I saw this ad in 2018, so this is how it's definitely stuck with me. It was location, lifestyle, and livability, and I'm like, that's it. It's not the location is clearly important, but it's okay. What kind of like, how's the livability of this house? Does it need to be improved? Then you price it accordingly. What's the lifestyle that it's going to be affording to you? Is it going to give you, is it going to put you in the neighborhood, in the school system? Is it going to give you close to parks, access to shopping, and everything else? I mean, what's everything? It's figuring out how you are going to live in this house, and that's pretty important.
Right, right. It's not only a house; it's everything around it.
Yeah. You can change the house, but you can't change everything else. You can't change the neighbors, can't change the street, can't change the location.
Interesting. On the buyer side, seller side, sorry, on the seller side, have you had any clients that were emotionally attached to the house
Oh,
and
yes.
were not afraid to sell it, but
Remorseful.
worth? Yes, yes.
Um, yes, I have. I had a client once who, she was the one initiating the sale. She was looking at houses for a year before we sold her house. She it was her idea to sell the house. And we got the house sold for a great price, and she had a real tough time in letting go, because it was where she'd raised her kids, and it hit her after we were in contract. I mean, she almost wanted to back out of the deal, and I'm like, you can't do that. I mean, it's just, we had to, it took hand holding and encouragement, and it was tough. Some people have a tough time when it's the family house. Mom just died, and it's the house that's been in their family for 50, 60 years. That's a tough one, where, the children are now older than me. They're, adults, and but still that tie to the house is so significant that it's
Right.
people have have a tough time. And you have to give people the space to grieve a little. You know, when you're closing a chapter of your life, that's again, it's a milestone. It's pretty significant. And you have to honor that. It's a, you know, I've this year I've sold 3 homes that were the family home. You know, and it's been emotional for every one of them. You know, that to be able to pass that on, where the house that they grew up in, and I'm selling mom or dad's house. It's you have to honor that and just give them the space to do a little grieving and a little celebrating, and it's kind of like a funeral.
Yeah, it's tough because it's the house is part of the family, right?
Yeah,
It's a one more team member, right?
it is.
It's
It is.
it is.
It is a family member. It's where you had all those holidays and birthdays, and you know, you skinned your knee, and you know, had the dogs and cats, and you know, funny experiences, and yeah.
Yes, yes. My son have a 10-year-old, and my son on his room he start not poking but making a hole on the wall, right? Um, I know. I When I saw it, I freaked out, right? We here we build with cement instead of wood, right?
Yes.
So it's it's different, and then they put a softer layer for finishing, right?
Hmm.
So with his plastic toys, he was able to get you know to the softer. I think it's clay. I don't remember, but he was able to get there, and what he was trying to do is draw a world map, right? A map of the world on the
Oh,
on the
funny.
yes, yes. So now the hole is still there, right? And he was trying to you know get across, make a hole between his room and our room, right? Um, until he reached the cement, and that was that where that's how far
Stopping
he was
point.
able to go. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
stopping point. Yeah. So, but now it became this, part of the
The
spirit of the
folklore.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
but I would say make sure that you get to watch Shawshank Redemption with him.
yeah. Right, right. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then you'll get to that point and then you'll go, was this what you were trying to do?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, I had to put a limit to that because he was also drawing. So I said, okay, if you're going to draw in your room, right? It's okay if you want to personalize your room, but
Chalk paint. You can get paint that is like a chalkboard.
oh, really?
It's la verdad, see. And you get and chalk, and then he can legitimately draw on the walls, and then you can erase it.
Yes, yes, we put that on the previous house we had, but we were renting there, so we put it, and then we he was a baby, so we put it at the floor level, and he was able
Yeah.
to draw there. Yeah, so probably that's why now he's drawing on the walls, right?
See,
Uh,
it's your fault. It's always your
yeah,
fault, you know.
yeah, and the thing is, you do that, as an adult, you say, okay, I'm going to put the limits of, you can draw inside here. Kids don't respect those limits, and he was drawing all over the walls, right? So we had to when we returned that house, then we had to paint the whole his whole room required a lot of cleaning up. Yeah.
Yes. I know, but those are the stories that stay with the house, and it's just it's fun to be able to have those stories to pass on to the next buyers, because you know, buyers, I still think that there's a human element to buying and selling a house, and people like to hear the stories. It's, you know, it's just it's just part of it. There's life in a house.
Right.
It's more than just walls and windows and floors. There is a spirit in the house.
Yes, yes, and it's one of the things that I do like about wood, right? Um, because wood has a life in it, right?
Yes.
Um, and um, and there's a warmth on the wood, right? that you cannot get with cement, right?
Yeah, it's very true.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. But then on the other hand, I prefer cement houses because they don't burn down as easily, right?
And they're
So there's
probably
that,
better
right?
insulated. They're cooler.
Yes, yes, they are. Yeah, and I, I I talked with this with a friend, and she said, "But you know that houses that are built with cement, they are also built with wood because the casting is based on wood."
Framing of
And I
it.
was like, "The framing, yes." So I was like, "Okay, yes, that makes sense." Yeah. The first day they so after we rented, we bought a new house, and so we were the first owners, right?
Hmm.
So it was in pristine conditions, right? Everything was, as good as the builders did it, right? Um, but the first day we come in, our son just grabs a permanent ink and draws all the way, a line all the way on the up on the stairs. Yeah, yeah.
I
It
hope he's an
was
artist when he grows up.
Yes, it's hard because on one side you want to, you want to scream at him for damaging the house, but then on the other side you want to encourage him to be himself, right?
Yes.
So yes, yes. Um, anyway, the line is still there, many years after,
Oh, yeah.
um, because now it becomes part of the house.
Yeah.
Yes,
Very true.
yeah. um, so how do you balance, the how do you balance the boundaries and maintaining the energy, when you're talking with clients, and this is a 24/7 work, and also um, having time with your family. How do you balance that, you know that dynamic?
I try to give I do boundaries where, you know, I'm not going to call people at night, you know, or I won't answer my phone unless like we're in the middle of something. Like if we know like we're getting a counter offer or we're receiving offers and we need to do counter offers, you know, I'll work into the evening. But you know, I try to set boundaries as if I'm a professional person, and I find that my clients respect that. You know, we have a house in the southern Sierra Mountains that is close to Yosemite, and I go up there about once a month for the weekend. And clients would be like, "Oh, can I call you if you're up there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine. You can call me, but but I'm away, so I we get away." So it's I find so I try to give myself evenings always to be able to recover, and be with my family. Um, in the beginning, I worked a ton. I mean, I could go a month without taking a day off because even during the middle of the week, you're still working and doing stuff. So it is challenging to find a work-life balance in the beginning because you're just hungry and you're trying to get yourself established and get
Right.
everything going. As as you're working longer, you're able to you're better at what you do, so you're more efficient and can get things done faster. um, because I'm working more by repeat and referral clients. So I know that, when I'm calling people, it's less of a sales call and more of a, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? And it's more casual, which is great. And I'm not having to make as many calls as I would if I were brand new because I'm established. People, I get the repeat and the referral clients. So that really makes a huge difference. So it's just, and then now as I've been 20 plus years in the business, I'm giving myself days off on the weekends. So I'm not working every single weekend. I'll take a weekend off maybe once or twice a month as opposed to only once a month or not at all. So it's just you do need to set yourself boundaries. And I do find that when you let your clients know, like if you've got a child who always has a game on Saturday, I'm going to take Saturday off because it's really important for me to go to my son's game. People go, oh, okay, I totally get that, totally get that. And so you just have to be responsive. I mean, text messaging is an amazing way to be able to touch people without having to be like totally in their face. So if somebody needed me They could text me and I could say, okay, this is really important. I need to step out, or this is not important. You know, we can deal with this tomorrow. And just to say, hey, I got you. It's under control. Let's talk tomorrow morning. Just to be responsive. And really, it's about setting expectations and being communicative. Making sure that you're clear in your communications and your expectations. And it's respect.
Right.
If you tell me that, Linda, my job, I can't talk to anybody in the morning. I'll never call you in the morning, ever. Unless it's like a house burning down emergency kind of thing. And that would probably be a text message saying, I really need you. Can we talk? But it's mutual respect goes a long ways. And if there's not mutual respect, I really don't want to work with that client. So if that client doesn't respect me and my expertise, then it's not going to be a win-win situation. And there's other agents out there who are transactional by nature, who don't give a hooey about their clients, and therefore their clients don't give a hooey about them. So let them work together. That's fine.
Right. Yeah, because usually a lot of real estate agents that I've seen are more on the transactional side, right? And for the buyers and the seller, the real estate agent becomes this kind of regulatory obligation that we have to go through, and it's one of an additional obstacle rather than a facilitator, right?
Well, there was one time I was talking with my mother-in-law about the need. She was going to be selling her house, and she was out of the area,
Right.
so I wouldn't have been involved. Well, not in the transaction. I'll be involved, but not in the transaction. And I go, let me help find an agent that can work with you. And she's like, well, what if I don't like them? I go, is it important to like them, or is it important to respect them? I mean, I want you to like me, but I want you to respect me first. I want you to it's not about my personality. Oh, Linda's upbeat and bubbly and she's funny and you'll like her. Or it's like, no, I want you to refer me because I'm smart. I know the marketplace. I know how to negotiate. I'm business when it needs to be business. And you see how my voice just changed.
Yes.
I want to be fun and bubbly, but I want to get the job done and I want to do the best darn job for you. Period. Hard stop.
Right. Right. And that's a respect.
Yeah, and and if someone doesn't know what they're doing, if someone is scared or new or doesn't know the market, yes, I'll do that. Yes, oh, absolutely, whatever you want. It's like, as opposed to, well, Mr. Seller, I seriously disagree with the strategy that you're trying to get me to employ. I might do it for a week or two, but then I think we need to change course. And if we can't change course, then I'm not the girl for you.
Right. Right.
Because I want to get the job. My job is not to list your house. My job is to sell your house for the highest possible price. And if you go this route, you're not going to get it.
Right. Right. And you're there to do a job. So you need the respect for people to respect and trust.
Yes.
Right. So you can do your job, but you're not there to make friends, right? You're there to do the job, right?
We don't have to gossip. We don't have to, I don't need to hear about, Johnny's football game. That's, great, awesome. But let's get to business. What's the best decision here based on the information we have at hand? What's happening in the marketplace? How are the winds shifting?
And then organically the friendship happens because of the trust, right? But
I find that I tend to work with very intelligent clients. I think that they, I've worked with I have a lot of Apple clients, a lot of Google clients, and people who, like I said, have been with me for 10, 15 plus. Well, I have a 22-year long client, and it's they know that they can ask me questions, and I'm not going to just kind of like dance around and say BS stuff. It's like, no, this is what's really going on, and they trust me, and that's important. Yeah, respect is huge.
Yes, I agree. Yeah,
and I do get a lot of hugs as well. It's fun when you run into somebody and it's like, and you see a client, and it's hug time. I mean, that's just what we expect, because we've been together for so long, and I want to, if I do a good job for you, I would expect a hug. Because it's
Right.
opposed to, oh God, I can't see you because this is horrible. So
Right. Yeah. But I like what we're talking about, that it's the seed for that is the trust. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and you have to earn, even when it's somebody that I personally know and I've known for years. I don't take it for granted. I just sold a house that was my client's father's house. My friend had been our next door neighbor 35 years ago, forever ago. And now we're coming back together for me to work together. And even though he trusts me and he trusts my husband, I still felt like I needed to earn his trust. I don't take it for granted. I don't just expect you to trust me. I want to earn it.
Um. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is about, something that came up to the news recently about the imbalance that is between the sellers and the buyers in the market, that, has been, it's very high recently, right? Historically very high, right?
As
And
far as what is high, the number of listings, or
well, what I was reading is that it passed the 500,000 mark, um, 500,000 mark. Yeah, let me read what I'm reading. So
okay.
it says, the imbalance between sellers and buyers in the U.S. housing market has now passed the 500,000 mark, according to the latest data from Redfin, as unsold inventory continues piling up across the country. And
Yes.
I wanted to hear your,
My
your thoughts
thoughts.
about that. Yeah.
So so let me translate that a little bit.
Yes.
Um, so inventory is creeping up, and buyers have suddenly pulled back. And again, I always want to put myself into somebody else's shoes as to why things are pulling back. And it's not our job to get political and talk about policies and such. But whenever there's a shift in the wind, when I took my first listing 22 years ago, a week after I took the listing, and I'm literally on the phone with the seller talking about this and that. My husband comes I remember I'm standing in the kitchen, and my husband comes into the kitchen. He goes, "We just dropped bombs on Iraq, Desert Storm." And
Right.
I'm all, crap. I knew instantly that that was going to change things, and the market changed completely, and buyers buyers got nervous. I knew this was going to happen. I mean, here's my first listing. I want to sell it so bad. I want some money. And buyers just were like, how, what the heck? And at the end of the day, price solves everything. But people get nervous, and because when there's uncertainty, they pull back, and it's just a natural reaction. We after COVID, we had huge sales across the country because people had held off in 2020 because of COVID, and now it's like, oh geez, I can now move, I can now work from home. I'm in too small of a house, I'm in too big of a house, I need to change. A lot of change happened at the 21, 22. Prices went up. We've had huge price appreciation over the past 5 years. And so I think it's a number of things. I think that sellers still look at those high numbers and go, well, I want to sell for that. It's time. So I want to get that number too. So they're overpricing their homes. Their expectations are overstated. Buyers have pulled back a bit because we've been told for the past 3 years that interest rates are going to come back down, and they're still hovering. They've settled down. They're like in the low sixes now. So it's not horrible. But, in Silicon Valley, it's still very expensive. So it's like how do we afford this? So buyers are going, you know what, I need to wait because maybe they're starting to have job layoffs, and then around the country, you've seen, pullbacks in certain industries. So people are just feeling some uncertainty. So I think that's part of the reason why. But then I also look at it as that, oh, it's a strong seller's market. Isn't this great? Well, no, it sucks for the buyers. I mean, because you're having to like give up your firstborn child and a pint of blood and just way overpay for the house. And if it's a buyer's market, oh my God, the market's dropping and oh my gosh. And it's like, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have both. So if it's a buyer's market, and I always joke about it being a first world problem, especially here in Silicon Valley. Like, oh, you didn't sell your house at the peak of the market. You've been there for how many years? So you're making how much money on the house? You're just fine. And part of this is that the realtors don't have the dialogues to be able to have these candid conversations with their clients. Put it into perspective. Yeah, it's and as my oldest son was working with my team for a while, I'll be all, Sean, what do I say? He goes, it's good to want. I'm like, yeah, we all want to sell at the top of the market, but we can't always do it. But if the goal, if the milestone we're looking to achieve is to get to that next place, we can only do it if we are starting with the sale of the house. And if the market is not responding, then we need to adjust the price and make sure that we're giving the clients, the buyers, the product that they're looking for, what's meeting their expectations. I think part of it is many newer agents not being able to have the tools in their toolbox to know how to talk to sellers, to have these conversations. And it's also being able to talk to the buyers to say, that's an opportunity. It's knocking. We've got fewer buyers in the market. We've got more listings. That gives you more choices. Let's get you into a house so you can start to have the benefits of home ownership. And then if the interest rates are high, they are going to come down at some point in time. And then you refinance. If you don't like the house, you don't like the house. Don't buy it. But if you like the house, don't try to psychoanalyze it. Because guess what? When the market passes and it goes back to the seller's market, no one's sending you a notice saying, oh, by the way, it's changed. You better get in there now. You're just going to wake up and go, oh, darn. I missed out. So the market has not tanked. It has come into become a more balanced market, and that's okay. But that's where we sharpen our skills. We work with our sellers to present the house in a way that's going to make the buyers happy. We learn how to negotiate. All this good stuff. There's things that we do here in Silicon Valley that aren't done around the country that I still find amazing. Sellers do inspections up front. So the buyers understand the condition of the house. It makes perfect sense. And then we don't have to renegotiate. Buyers know what they're getting, and that helps a huge amount. And so I think that in the Silicon Valley, we have fewer houses fall out of contract because buyers aren't surprised, because nobody likes a surprise. So at the end of the day, yes, the inventory has gone up. Sales are down a bit. I just looked at the numbers. I just did my month-end numbers. Sales through the end of July are the second lowest in the last 5 years. But that's okay. We'll be fine. We'll be fine because prices are still holding.
Right. And in a way, is to not get too much attached to what we read in the news about the market, because if somebody is in the right situation where they want to sell, then they will be able to, right? It will be about pricing or There's always going to be a buyer or a seller to make the transaction happen.
Always is. There always is. And I am not Chicken Little. The sky is not falling. It's
right.
Real estate is cyclical, and you just have to understand the market that you're in and adapt.
I can see, by knowing you a little bit more, I can see why you are such a success in this industry. So
Thank
congratulations.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Linda, for joining us today. We're running out of time. Do you want to, um, share something with the audience before we leave?
Well, first, Federico, thank you so much. This has been a very delightful conversation. I really enjoyed it. Thank you
Thank you.
for the opportunity. You know, it's fun to talk about what you're passionate about, and
Yes.
it is. It's so sadly, my poor family will say that it's, you know, I still love what I do, and I'm really lucky to be where I am and to have amazing clients that I do, and just luck, hard work all goes hand in hand. And it was just good fortune to be able to be and to become and do what I've been able to do for the past 22 years.
Yes. Yes. I think it's more than luck. I think that your personality, your skills, your um, grit, all of that combined help you get where you are, and I want to acknowledge and congratulate you for that. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.